Good morning, dear students. So today we'll add further more points to the introduction that we discussed in our last class, and we were discussing about Hitler. There are a few more points that you have to keep in your mind before we move to the text. So Hitler was heavily influenced by Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. He applied their theories of natural selection and survival of the fittest systematically to his project of ethnic cleansing. So Hitler was heavily influenced by Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. Hope you all know both these Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer, and they were mainly known for their theories of natural selection and survival of the fittest. So Hitler considers these two particular theories as a means of his cruel deed of ethnic cleansing. He says that these two theories are to be followed. According to these theories, only the fittest are going to survive in a particular land. So here, Hitler considers only Germans as the fittest to survive in Germany. And the Jews were terribly killed in the name of ethnic cleansing, and by saying, and he justifies his ethnic cleansing by the means of survival of the fittest and natural selection. And he says both these theories can stand up with his ethnic cleansing. Here he kills the Jews by saying that they are not fit to survive in Germany, only Germans are the fittest. And for his cruel deed, he even take these theories as a basic, and he says that even Charles Darwin through his natural selection and Herbert Spencer through his survival of the fittest has come forward in the scientific world. Just like that, Hitler comes up with ethnic cleansing. So he was heavily influenced by these two theories in a very negative manner. He was a powerful speaker who realized the role of rituals and spectacle in mass mobilization. So as we all know, Hitler had a lot many followers because of this peculiar reason of Hitler. He was a powerful speaker. He had the ability to influence his followers through his powerful speaking skill. And he know that he can move people through his speeches. Along with that, he used rituals and spectacle in mass mobilization. So he also used a different pattern to move the people toward him. He believed that a spectacle and ritual can move people towards him. He was a good speaker. Along with that, when he comes in front of people to address them, he followed certain rituals and spectacle. And we will see what they were. The red banners with the swastika, the Nazi salute, and the ritualized rounds of applause after his speeches were all part of this spectacle of power. Spectacle means something which we can see in front of us, and here along with the speech, Hitler adds these spectacles like what? He often carries this red banners with swastika, which was a symbol of Nazis and Nazi Germany. There was a red banner and a swastika symbol that shows the symbol of Hitler and his followers, that is of Nazi Germany. And the Nazis had a different salute of their own. They used to salute, and they used to have these swastika banners with them every time Hitler utters a word. And there was also ritualized rounds of applauses. Rounds of clapping was there each time Hitler delivered a speech. So once Hitler delivers a speech and stops it, the Nazis used to give give rounds of applauses. And this all shows the pomp and the spectacle of Hitler as a ruler and a powerful leader. So all these spectacle as well as the rituals was to create a mass mobilization, create a lot many followers for the for this particular powerful leader Hitler. And finally, what happened? We all know he committed suicide. He killed himself to avoid capture by the Soviets. So Soviets, the Russia was about to capture Hitler and kill him since Germany was going to fail in the World War. So he was sure that he'll be caught by the Soviets and he'll be killed mercilessly. So before that, he committed suicide to avoid the capture from Soviets. That's about Hitler, and we also discussed about Gandhi, and there was a brief introduction which conveyed the clear differences between Gandhi and Hitler, and hope it is clear. So now we'll move on to the gist of the letter. This letter, which we are going to deal with, assumes significance in contemporary times when violence against humanity continues in disguised and sanitized forms. So, this particular letter, which we are going to handle, is very important in the contemporary time. Now, it is very important as violence against humanity is there in disguised and sanitized forms. That is, violence is dressed up like a clean and clear person. So here, violence is hiding behind sanitized forms. That is, in the name of purity or in the name of peace, violence is hiding somewhere. So every nations are pretending to be good to each other, but in reality, they are disguised as promoters of peace, but in reality, they are the embodiments of violence. So, this particular letter is very important in the contemporary world. There is growing mistrust between nations and communities on the unprecedented scale globally. So now there are mistrust. No one trusts each other. No countries, no nations, no communities trust each other. And this distrust is growing in unprecedented scale. That means unprecedented means which was something never known before. Before nations had a tie-up, which was actually good and pure, in fact. But now there is growing mistrust everywhere, even amongst the different communities in different nations. Nations and their leaders are becoming increasingly intolerant of difference. So everyone is becoming intolerant of difference and they need to compete and win over other nations. Even in Gandhi's own country, one can be lynched for being a Dalit or for consuming beef. So in our land, in Gandhi's land, in India, even in India, people can be lynched. Lynched means killed unlawfully. Without a trial, people are being killed just because he's a Dalit or because he ate beef. So this is a condition in India. So we can consider the other nations and their deeds as well. In the contemporary world and in the present scenario, we have seen many people being killed in the name of their race and also because they had a different creed. This short and crisp letter, which Gandhi wrote to Hitler, raises his genuine concerns for the sake of humanity. So, this particular letter deals with Gandhi's concerns for the sake of humanity. Gandhi is a person who stands for non-violence, and Hitler is just opposite to him, and he is an embodiment of violence. So here Gandhi is writing a letter to Hitler by asking him to stop the brutal and terrible Second World War. The letter written during the Second World War after Germany's occupation of Czechoslovakia is a plea to stop the war. So this particular letter was written during Germany's invasion of Czechoslovakia. While Germany was invading Czechoslovakia, Gandhi wrote this letter, and this particular letter is a pleading by Gandhi to stop the war. Gandhi mentions his method of non-violence, which he strongly believes is the best form of resistance. And he mentions that non-violence is the best method, according to him, to resist our enemies, just like Indians do against the British. He wrote 2 letters to Hitler, both of which were not delivered to him as they were intercepted by British government. So in total, 2 letters were written by Gandhi to Hitler, but Hitler never got these letters because British interfered in between, and the letters were not sent to Hitler. And the first letter was written prior to Hitler's invasion of Poland, which marks the beginning of the Second World War. And the first letter was written before Hitler's invasion of Poland, which that means before the beginning of Second World War. As we mentioned earlier, Second World War started when Hitler invaded Poland. So Gandhi actually wrote this letter before that. So it was even before the beginning of Second World War. The first letter was written. In that letter, Gandhi places the onus of Hitler to prevent a massive war that will reduce humanity to a savage state. In that first letter, Gandhi already mentioned Hitler that this war will reduce humanity to a savage state. If you're going to take up a war, this war is going to reduce humanity, reduce human beings to a state of savage state. Savage means very fierce and violent state. And he urges Hitler to take recourse to an international tribunal for an amicable settlement of the issues at stake. And he pleads to Hitler to take recourse. To take recourse means seek help to an international tribunal. International tribunal means an international gathering of other nations, meeting where other nations to take part, other nations representatives come up to help someone. That international tribunal can help Hitler to make an amicable settlement at the issues at stake. Amicable settlement means to make a friendly settlement. So for making a friendly settlement, you can seek the help of an international tribunal. International tribunal means gathering of the representatives of other nations too, so that they can speak and end the war. At stake means at risk. So that is the introduction of the letters to Adolf Hitler, the chapter which we are going to deal from our next class onwards. So I hope it is clear for you. Just go through the introduction and know the difference between Gandhi and Hitler, and also about the letter. So let us begin the chapter in our next class. Until then, thank you and have a nice day.